From vicious killers to deadly rides, here are 10 terrifying urban legends that turned out to be true. Number 10. The Hookman. You've probably heard tales of the Hookman, a mysterious killer who stalks lovers in parked cars, kills them, and then hooks their bodies to the back of his car. The legend goes that he was an escaped mental patient who had a hook for a hand. And while there have been many copy-killers with this modus operandi, the original Hookman. Dean Corll killed at least 7 people in Texas in the 1970s. He was known as the Candy Man because he lured his victims in with candy before taking them to his house of horrors where he tortured and killed them. After killing his victims, he would hang their bodies from meat hooks in his garage. Number 9. Alligators playing Dungeons and Dragons. In 1982, a group of teenagers were hanging out by the railroad tracks when they saw something unbelievable. They spotted 2 alligators playing Dungeons and Dragons. They described the scene as the gators rolling dice and battling each other with swords. Although this sounds like a scene from a comedy film, it really happened. An article published in Reader's Digest details how these alligators became addicted to the tabletop game. A pair of alligators were being kept as pets in Florida. Their owner bought them from a man who had found them in the Everglades. When the new owner realized how big the alligators were getting, he took them to a lake and set them free. But they didn't want to live in the wild. Instead, they returned to their owner's house every day to get their fix of D&D. Eventually, the owner built them their own swamp to live in, complete with a tabletop and chairs so they could play comfortably. Number 8. Highway 666. If you're superstitious, then you probably don't want to travel on Highway 666 in Colorado. The road got its number because the alignment of some of the rock formations near the highway resemble the mark of the beast from Revelations. To add to the creepiness factor, there have been strange lights and even stranger creatures spotted on this road. Locals say it's haunted by ghosts and demons. This is all pretty scary, but what is really creepy is that this road actually exists and anyone can take a drive down it. So if you're headed to Colorado, watch out for Highway 666. Number 7. Red-eyed killers. Urban legends speak of red-eyed killers, demonic-looking figures who can be spotted standing on street corners or walking along roads. According to the legend, these beings only appear to people who are about to die. While most people dismiss this as just a story, there have actually been several cases of red-eyed killers caught on camera. There was the case of Cheryl Andrews, who was driving home from a party in 2004 when she spotted a man with glowing red eyes on the side of the road. She slowed down to see if everything was okay, but the man suddenly disappeared. Or what about Jennifer Hedrick and Courtney Mabius, who were hitchhiking in North Carolina in 2008 when they saw a man with blood-red eyes approaching them. He offered them a ride, but they declined and he disappeared into the woods. Number 6, Siren. Do you remember the song Thriller? Of course you do. It was a massive hit, and one of the lyrics is, "Beware the creature from the Black Lagoon." Well, that's not the only urban legend about the Black Lagoon. There are also stories of a siren living in the waters off the coast of Cape Florida. This creature is said to lure sailors to their death with its beautiful voice. While it may sound like just another tall tale, there was a real-life siren who lived in the Black Lagoon. Her name was Maria Martin, and she did lure sailors to their deaths. But she wasn't a mermaid. She was a woman who stood on the shore and sang. She would use her wealth to buy expensive clothes and jewelry. Number 5, the babysitter and the man upstairs. Have you ever had a babysitter? What was her name? Was it Tina? Well, if it was, then you might have been the victim of an urban legend. There was a babysitter named Tina who was rumored to be a serial killer. According to the story, she would go to houses where parents had left their kids alone and pretend to be a good babysitter. However, she would always tell the children that she had a sick friend who lived upstairs. that friend would come out of his room and kill both her and the children. Well, it turns out there really was a serial killer named Tina, but she didn't look like the babysitter from your nightmares. Her real name was Gwendolyn Graham, and she targeted gay men. Number 4, Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary is one of the most famous urban legends of all time. Kids would sneak into cemeteries at midnight to pay respects to her grave, only to find her rotting corpse sitting up. One thing you should never do is reach out and touch her, because if you did, she'd sit up and gouge out your eyes and eat them. Of course, this is just a story, right? Well, maybe not. There is a real Mary in the story, Mary Reeser. She was born in 1925 and died in 1977 after being stabbed 26 times. The rumor started after the police found her grave, and instead of respecting her final resting place, some people decided to dig up her body and eat it. Number 3, the vanishing hitchhiker. The story goes that a young woman is hitchhiking down a dark road when she is picked up by a friendly driver. The driver offers to take her all the way to her destination, but soon they realize she's not on her way. As the driver turns around, he hears a knock on his window, and when he looks over, he sees the girl covered in blood. She disappears before he can do anything, leaving him to call the cops and explain what happened. While this sounds like the plot of a cheap horror movie, there have been several cases of the vanishing hitchhiker. One of the most famous occurred in the early 1980s, when a man picked up a hitchhiker who turned up missing. The next day, her body was found in the same spot where she was dropped off. Number 2, killer oncoming car. This one's a bit different because instead of featuring a monster, it's a story about a car that drives straight towards you, clipping you and sending you flying through the air. Then the car stops, and the driver gets out to check the damage before driving off. Maybe it's best to chalk this one up to mass hysteria, because there's no way that someone could survive a collision like that. But there have been cases of this happening. Sometimes the driver even tries to run away, but they're stopped by the people who witnessed the accident. And some versions of the legend claim that the car never stops and just keeps going. Number 1, the Brown Lady. The Brown Lady is the ghost of a woman who appears in the windows of moving cars. According to the legend, if you see her, you will die. There have been several sightings of the Brown Lady throughout history, and in some versions of the story, she's seen as a warning of impending doom. Others say she's a harbinger of evil. Whatever the case, the Brown Lady has been spotted all over the world, and many believe that she's connected to Satan. While there's no proof that the Brown Lady exists, there is a lot of proof that the legend has had a lasting impact on pop culture. She's been featured in TV shows like The Twilight Zone and even video games like Silent Hill. Thanks for watching. Would you ever dare to drive Highway 666? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time. Bye.